Disclaimer lang po, I'm not an expert or professional teacher. The information I shared in this video is based on a module. I apologize if there are any mistakes in my discussion. I'm still a student and learning. This video is made purely for educational purposes as part of our school activity. Implasyon or inflation. So what is inflation or inflation in Tagalog? So we will be tackling about inflation today. So, the meaning of inflation is a general rise of the cost of goods and services that is measured over a period of time. So, we only talk about inflation if there is a rise in prices for many goods and services. So, if a chicken is suddenly more expensive but the other goods and services are not, then it is not an inflation. We can call it inflation if tanan goods and tanan daghan services is nitaas silang presyo. But if isa ra ka service as ang nitaas ang presyo, then it's not an inflation. Alternatively, if the price of goods and services fall, it is called deflation. So deflation is quite rare because kana siya is a decrease in the prices of goods and services. However, we will not be talking about deflation because our topic for today is inflation. The rise in the prices of goods is an inevitable part of human life. So, in our life actually, dili nato maiwasan ang inflation because even sa history bears witness to its existence. So, do you know that during Great Depression of 1930s in Europe, there was an hyperinflation. So, hyperinflation refers to the continuous and rapid increase to the prices of goods every hour, day, and week, which occurred in Germany during the 1920s. So if ang inflation is ma-measure na siya over a period of time, ang hyperinflation is continuous na siya. Rapid increase should na siya. Pwede gapon siya every hour, day, and week. So for example, an hour ago, ang orange is 20 pesos. But pwede siya later on maging 30 pesos na siya even though an hour has passed. So how do you measure inflation nga ba? So to measure inflation, many governments in the world have a consumer price index or CPI in short. So the CPI measures the average change in prices of a basket of goods and services over a period of time. So the basket contains common goods and services including food, clothing, housing, household goods, alcohol, tobacco, transportation, medical care, and education. So, do you know that inflation is measured using a base year, which is given the value 100? So, inflation is calculated in relation to the base year using percent. For example, in Thailand, the base year is 2002. So 2002 is given 100 points because that's the base year. In 2003, the prices of all commodities rose an average of 1.8%. So the CPI for rice in 2003 is 101.8 points. That is the base year value of 100 plus 1.8. So you can look at the graph below, estimate the CPI for the middle of the following years: 1999, 2000, 2001, 2003, 2004, 2005. So you don't actually have to be exact. So for the example, look at the example below and answer the question. Imagine a society in which there is only two commodities, an orange and a dollar. Both these commodities are finite, meaning there is a limited supply of them. In year 1, there is a 10,000 oranges and $5,000. Therefore, there are 2 oranges per dollar if you will do the math. In year 2, there is very little rain. So the oranges trees only produce 5,000 oranges. The number of dollars again stays the same. Now, there is one orange per dollar. Question 1. What will happen to the price of oranges and why? So here is the answer, and let me break it down to you. Year 1 is our baseline. So there is 10,000 oranges, $5,000. So there is 2 oranges per dollar. So which means each orange cost 0.50 if you'll do the math. In year 2, 5,000 oranges, which means less supply because as stated there is a little rain. So that's why it has less supply. So $5,000 same money supply. So an orange per dollar. So which means each orange cost $1. So question 1, what will happen to the price of oranges and why? So the price actually will increase because there are fewer oranges, which means lower supply but the same amount of money is unchanged demand. So with scarcity, which means kakulangan, people compete to buy the limited oranges, driving the prices up. In year 3, the weather is perfect for oranges. So the number of oranges increases to 1,500. The number of dollars, which is 5,000, stays the same. Now, there are 3 oranges per dollar. So question 2, what will happen to the price of oranges and why? So the price actually will decrease because there are more oranges, which means there is a higher supply of oranges but the same amount of money. So more goods chasing the same dollars. So prices fall. In year 4 naman, the orange harvest is normal, which is 10,000 oranges are produced. However, the central government decide to print more money. Now, there are now $10,000 in the economy, so 1 orange per dollar. What will happen to the price of oranges and why? That's question 3. So the prices actually will increase because the money supply doubled with the number of goods stays the same. So more dollars chasing the same amount of oranges. So that's inflation, which is the prices rise. So what causes actually the inflation? According to Milton Friedman, a Nobel Prize winning economist in 1976, having excessive amount of money in circulation or an increased money supply is one reason why demand rises because there's too much money. Consumers are more likely to keep buying many products which leads to an increase in prices, which is mataas na demand plus pagkakaroon ng shortage of the products plus pagtaas ng presyo ng bilhin is equals to demand pull inflation. Cost push inflation. The increase in the cost of producing goods is the main reason for the rise in the prices of commodities. Any change in the factors of production, such as higher wages for workers, increased rent for land, or the rising cost of raw materials used in manufacturing, affects it affects actually the overall price of the finished product. So, the increase in the prices of inputs or production materials serves as a driving force that pushes market prices upward. So the other causes of inflation is increase in the exchange rate of the peso against the dollar. So due to the shortage of incoming dollars, the value of the peso decreases. So it weakens in the global market, causing the prices of goods in the country to rise. Which means now, if since gamay raman ang gina-release na dollars, ang value daw sa peso kay mo decrease na siya. So ma-weaken ang global market, causing the prices of goods in the country to rise. Number two is dependence on imported raw materials. So when the prices of imported materials increase, the product that rely on imported raw materials also experience price increases. Number three is condition of exports. So when a greater amount of supply is exported compared to what remains in the local market, this will lead to higher prices due to high demand and insufficient supply of products within the country. Number four is monopoly or what you call cartel. Because their products or services are unique, they have the power to control and raise their prices in the market. And lastly is debt payments. Instead of being used for production or the improvement of public facilities, a portion of the national budget goes to debt repayment. What are the effects of inflation on the people? So, first, those who will benefit from the inflations are firstly is the borrowers or debtors. So, if the interest rate on their loan is lower than the rate of inflation over a certain period, borrowers benefit more because they were able to purchase goods at a lower price and will repay their debt with money that has a lower value. Number two is the people with uncertain income. So, if the prices of the product they sell suddenly rise, their income also increases significantly and unexpectedly, giving them higher profits. And lastly, the speculators. Those engaged in real estate or buy and sell businesses purchase goods whose prices increase quickly. They buy them at a lower price and sell them at a higher price to earn a profit. So, what are the effects of inflation on people? So, those who suffer from inflations are the following. Firstly is lenders or creditors. The earnings of lenders are based on the interest rate. So if the interest rate is lower than the inflation rate, they lose money because the value of the money repaid to them decreases. Number two, people with fixed income. Workers who receive a fixed salary are affected by inflation because it becomes difficult for them to make ends meet as the prices of goods and services rise sharply. And lastly are those people who likes to save or savers. So when the interest earned from their bank savings is lower than the inflation rate, their earnings decrease because the real value of their money in the bank goes down. So what are the ways to solve the problem caused by inflation? So the problem of inflation continues to be experienced by all countries. Therefore, every citizen has a responsibility to help address this issue. Below are some suggested solutions for each sector to help resolve inflation, according to Kayamanan by Imperial et al. In 2017 and Economics Module by Balitao et al. In 2017. First, firstly is the government. They have to implement policies and measures to ensure and manage the overall price levels of goods. In cooperation with the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP, it ensures the proper regulation of the country's money supply. The government may also adjust monetary and fiscal policies to strengthen the nation's economic stability. Number two are the producers or the entrepreneurs. They should expand their capacity to increase local production, which will require more workers and provide additional wages. This will not necessarily lead to higher prices since there are still many unemployed individuals willing to work for reasonable wages. And lastly are the consumers or the buyers. They can help by supporting local products while being wise and discerning in choosing what goods to purchase. That's all, and thank you for listening to my discussion.